Good morning and welcome to Radio Friends on Friday, June the 27th. We're going to talk about what's going on with the State Historical Society, and I've got Joan Stack with us today.
Hello, how are you?
Good, Joan, and you brought along a guest?
Yes, one of my colleagues at the State Historical Society, John Konzal, and
Good to have
he's
you
going
here,
to
John.
talk
Thank
about a collection that we have at the State Historical Society, some objects from which are going to be on display.
Starting tomorrow.
Well, our big event is tomorrow.
Okay.
We're going to have a walkthrough at 1:30 where we are going to have me and some other people from the State Historical Society are going to give a guided tour of this exhibit that we have related to World War I and Missouri in World War I. Of course, tomorrow is the anniversary of the assassination of Duke Ferdinand, so the beginning of World War I. So this whole year is going to be a big commemoration of that war, and a lot of people don't know much about World War I, so we're hoping that this will be an educational experience.
So, World War I, tomorrow
Yes.
is the anniversary of World War I.
Of the beginning of it.
Beginning. How many years ago?
Oh, it will be 100 years.
100 years
now,
ago.
America didn't get involved right away, so this is the beginning in Europe.
Okay.
And America doesn't get involved until 1918, but so it won't be until 2018
That'll be 100 years for the United States.
For the United States, but Europe is dealing with it.
So what are some of the items that you will have on display?
Well, I'll give you a general overview. We'll have posters, we'll have letters, we'll have some visual material related more to the art of World War I, but a lot of manuscripts, a lot of objects, even a gas mask that was used by John Patrick, who is the man who John is an expert in. He's processed all the papers of John Patrick. And could you talk a little bit about him? He was a Missourian.
Well, sure. Yeah, he grew up on a farm in Higbee, Missouri. Actually,
not
Randolph
very far
County.
from here.
Randolph County, yeah. And he was a guy that he traveled all over the states when he was a young person. He actually taught Chinese students in Hawaii. I guess he taught them, English. So he was a teacher even before he went over to overseas. But he went over there, and he had a very close connection with his parents. So he would correspond with his parents. We have letters he constantly wrote to his parents. Unfortunately, we don't know the letters his parents wrote to him, but we have all his responses. And one of the things he wanted to do was give them some idea of what was going on over there. So he would collect all these little things. He would go on leave and he would go into the trenches and the dugouts and he would find things. And he would say, oh, one time I went down and there was gas down there and I had to get out real quick. So he would talk about these things, but he would also send these things home.
All in letters.
He would explain these in letters, and then he would send things home. He would send things in pieces home. He would send these little objects, and which is what we have here.
Okay, we've got an object here. Now, if you want to, and I've got to put on the little museum gloves
That's
to
right.
hold this
So you don't want any fingerprints on it,
All
but
right.
I'm sure there are already.
And we want Paul to guess what this object
All right,
is.
if
I'll let you try to guess.
Okay, if you want to see what we're talking
And I'll have to cover
about,
this.
go to kbia.org, click on Radio Friends, and watch this segment. Now here, why don't you describe what it looks like for people listening on the radio?
Okay, well, this is like a very small cylinder, and it has some attachments on the end. There's what was a band here. This other piece has fallen off, but that was the band. And then there's this tube here, which has an opening at the end.
Okay, and you want me to guess what this is? The first thing that comes into my head, it would have something to do with a weapon or with trying to survey where you are. Am I anywhere close?
The second one is a little bit close.
A little bit close?
Yeah, a little bit.
Trying
Yes,
to
yes.
determine a location or the lay of the land.
There's a lot to that, yeah.
But Paul seems to be thinking that this is some kind of site, but no.
It's
I think you
different.
ought to say what it is.
Okay.
Go ahead, what is this?
Okay, what this actually is this was used by homing pigeons. They would actually they would write a message in code.
Oh my goodness.
Roll it up and put it inside the cylinder there. They would attach this to the leg of the homing pigeon and send the pigeon off. So this is how they got messages over the lines, over the trenches. They
So
were very
this
effective.
was put on the homing pigeon.
Yes, this was attached to the leg of the homing pigeon.
Can I pick this up?
Yes, you can.
I got my gloves on.
Absolutely.
Okay.
You can pick it up. You can hold it in your hand. Perfectly fine.
And if you take a look at this, can you get this, Lowell? Go to kbia.org, click on Radio Friends, and take a look at this little cylinder. This was used to send messages with homing before email.
That's right. Yeah.
Before email and texting and instant messaging. And then would they send a message back then?
Yes, yeah. They would send messages back and forth. And,
What, was this
and
in
both sides
code?
did
Was
that.
this- was
It
this-
was in code, yeah. And both sides would do this, not just the Americans and the British and the French, but the Germans would do this as well. Both sides used these pigeons to send messages.
Yeah. And how long did that go on?
I think it went on for most of the war. They would have radio communications, but over there in the no man's land, those things didn't hold up too well. Things got bombed out, and a lot of things were destroyed.
But you can always depend on the
But you
homing
can always
pigeon.
depend on the homing pigeons to send those up. So they would do them, and they apparently flew very high and very fast. So a lot of them were lucky. Now, one thing I'd like to point out with this is you notice that there's a paint on the end of this.
Yes. Uh-huh.
Now, that's because this whole thing was painted before, because if they put it on the pigeon and they sent it up with this, the way it is now, nice and
It would
shiny.
reflect the sunshine.
Exactly, and the
So they
gunners would
painted
see
it.
that.
They would painted it dull.
A dull, dark color like you see on the cap. That's what remains of the original paint on that. That was all color, all painted, so that they wouldn't reflect.
All of this will be explained when people come to see
absolutely.
the exhibit.
Yes, and much
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
And there's
my
a lot
goodness.
of exciting things, a piece of a dirigible.
Oh yeah, we've got pieces of a German Zeppelin that was shot down over Paris. He clipped some. He bribed a guard. He learned to speak French. So he bribed a guard and went in and clipped some pieces off and sent those home to his parents. Said, "Look, this is what a Zeppelin feels like."
So he was
sent
very
those
dedicated
home.
to his parents.
He
and
was
keeping them
very,
warm.
very much so.
Yeah,
Very much so.
yeah.
Yeah. But he'd all kinds of things.
Okay, so the exhibit, is it open now or it will open tomorrow?
Well, the big opening event is
tomorrow.
tomorrow. Yes.
Okay, what time?
At 1:30 is the walkthrough. So we will have a few light refreshments, and people can come a little bit before 1:30, and then at 1:30 we will give a guided tour of the exhibit. And
How long will the exhibit be up?
it will be going on through the fall. I believe that it closes in October.
Oh, this is interesting, Joan.
And
You
I-
need to bring some more.
Oh,
some
well,
more of
maybe
these
we
back.
could. Wait, but one thing I want to make sure people know where we are. We're the State Historical Society of Missouri. We are located in Ellis Library. We have entrances on Lowry Mall and on Hitt Street, and we're on the University of Missouri campus. Free and open to the public, so please come and see us.
Okay, and you're closed on Monday,
We are closed on Monday
and you're open Tuesday through
through Saturday.
Through Saturday.
And we have this event on Saturday, always free.
tomorrow.
And
Okay.
look us up on the web. if
All
you're
right,
having trouble.
Joan Stack, John, thank you so much for coming, guys. It's very
You're welcome.
interesting. A
Yeah.
pleasure meeting you. Let's see, Monday, Healthy Eating and MU Healthcare. Our program directed by Travis McMillen of the Reynolds Journalism Institute. Audio is Pat Akers from KBIA. Our floor director is Lowell Thomas, and our assistant producer and guest coordinator, Uncle James Mauser. Go to kbia.org and watch this segment, and you'll see what we're talking about with the homing pigeon. Bye-bye.